So we're going to do a few practice problems here with these measures of center, and our directions tell us to round any decimals to the nearest hundredth if necessary. So we're going to start with number one. A local body shop wants to update their scheduling, and they need to know approximately how many working hours they can repair a day. So the hours that they completed each day for the past month are listed here. We're asked to find the mean, median, and the mode of these hours. So the first thing I'm going to do is go ahead and put this in order from least to greatest. So I'm going to start off, and I'm just going to kind of mark mine out as I find them. So my lowest number here is 54. So 54 goes first. Then my next number is 101. Then looks like I have 106. And then a 110. And then there's another 110. And another 110. There is a 124. Let's see, there is a 134. 150. 153. 154. 158. 160, 162, 164, 164 again, let's see, 167, 174, a 175, 182, 190, and then 254 and 356. And that should be all of my numbers. I've got them all marked out, so they're all in least to greatest order. Alright, so first thing I'm asked to find is the average. So average here, I'm going to have to add all of these values up, so it's going to take just a minute to do that in my calculator, but I'm going to plug all of those in. 106, 110, 110, 124, 134, 150, 153, 154, 158, 160, 162, 164, 164, 74, 75, 182, 190, 254, and 356. Alright, and so we end up with a total. Let's make sure I've got all of my numbers in correctly. Alright, so we end up with a total of 3,612. And I had a total of 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20, 21, 22, 23 days in that month. And so my average here, when I divide that number by 23, is 157.04. Alright, so then we go to median, and there are 23 numbers, so an odd number, so I can go and start from my ends and work my way in. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, and 12. This number right here is my middle number, so my median here is going to be 158. And then most often occurring number, let's see, I have a 164 that occurs twice. I have a 110 that occurs 3 times. So 110 is the number that occurs most often. Okay, so those are the values. The mean is 157, the median is 158, and the mode is 110. So again, another example where mode is kind of very different from these other two numbers, but your mean and your average and your median are actually very close on this one. Alright, question number 2. Carol's working at a local restaurant for a few hours after school each day and all day on Saturday. So her tips for 1 week are $37, $62, $53, $86, $101, and $408. So we're asked to find, again, the mean, median, and mode of her tips. and ask a question that which measure of center best shows her typical tip amount and why do you think so. And so this answer is going to be a little bit of an opinion, but we'll talk through that in just a second. All right, so first off, let's get our numbers in order. So 37 is the smallest, and then 53, 62, 86, 101, and 408. Okay, so those are her values for the 6 days that she worked this week. So if we add those together, 37, 53, 62, 86, 101, and 408, total of $747 for the week, and we divide that by the 6, and you get $124.50. Okay, now the second piece of this was the median. So here in median we have even numbers, so we're going to have to take the average of 62 and 86 and divide that by 2. So 62 and 86 is 148. Divide that by 2 and we get 74. That's for our median number. And mode, she doesn't make the same amount any night, so there is no mode on this one. Now, the next question, when you're asking which measure of center best shows her typical tip amount, and why do you think so, it really kind of depends on which direction you want to go with this. Truthfully, I think that the median is probably a really good number to represent her typical amount on a Monday through Friday. That's probably a good number there. She doesn't make anything close to that on Monday through Friday for your average, so that's probably not the best number. But when you consider what she makes on an all-day Saturday, if you're considering a kind of more looking for an average for the week, a middle number for the week, well, then maybe 124 makes more sense. But if she ever were to just work Monday through Friday and have to quit that Saturday, a more average for her, or a more middle number, a center number for her would be closer to a 74. So again, it just depends on what you think and how you would be representing this data, or how you would be looking at this data specifically, what the situation called for. So this would be an answer that would just kind of depend on your opinion, and as long as you are willing to justify your answer with the mathematical information that you have in the situation, then that would be perfectly fine. Alright, so last question. Scores from the last algebra test are listed below. Here they are, and they are already in least to greatest order, so that's one thing less we have to do. So we're asked to find the mean, median, and mode of the scores. So first off, we're going to add all of these scores together. So 34 plus 57 plus 67 plus 71 plus 73 plus 73 plus 73 plus 74 plus 79 plus 79 plus 84, 86, 88, 88, 88, 91, 97, and 100. Altogether, that adds up to be 1,402, and there were a total of 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18 scores. And when we divide that, we get an average score of 77.89. So about a 78 is the average score on that test. Alright, so middle number, there are 18 of them, so we're going to have to go to our two middle numbers. So our two middle numbers here end up being a 79 and a 79, and of course the average of 79 and 79 is 79. So our median number ends up being that 79 value. Now mode, if 79 occurs twice, 88 occurs 3 times, and 73 occurs 3 times. So we actually end up with two modes here of 73 and 88. They both occur 3 different times. Alright, so now, in my own words, explain what these measures of center mean and which measure is the least helpful piece of data and why. So here we have this 77.89. This is an average. It's finds kind of the middle ground for your students, their scores. And again, you can explain this however makes the most sense to you. But for me, the 77.89 kind of gives me the middle ground for my kids, as they, I've got half my kids are above this score, half my kids are below this score. And the same thing for the 79. I think they're very similar, and it just kind of depends on the values. But in this case, 78 and 79 are very close numbers. So I think both of these represent a very good middle ground for this test. That, you know, the middle grade was a 79, and half the kids were above that and half the kids were below that. But also, when you take the average of those numbers, they still were sitting right there kind of in that middle 78, 79 score. Now the mode here, there were 3 students who made a 73 and 3 students who made an 88. So you had 3 students who did, you know, just barely above average, and 3 that were a little bit above that, closer to that 8 range. And it just kind of depends on what kind of information you're looking for. But to me, if I'm looking for a middle ground of did my students understand the material, did they pass this test, this mode is not a very useful information for me. It's great that 3 of my students made a 73. It's great that